Warning, this video may contain graphic content such as sexual scenes, violence, gore, boobies, and the rest of the fun stuff. Unfortunately, YouTube won't allow that, so we'll try what we can. Please be over 18 to view this video, and don't say we didn't warn you.
Endlessly searching for an original sound.
Hey guys, welcome back to more Fate's Day and Night. Let's continue. I'm actually recording another Japanese visual novel, but that won't get released until October, but I think it'll fit perfectly with Halloween. Twirling gusts of wind. Short sword in hand, the red bullet launches. What meets him is a blue spear thrust. If the dashing archer is a raging wind, the responding spearhead is a divine wind. The sword is swung, and the swing to deflect the thrust. Archer parries the thrust of the high-speed lance with his short sword. The one in red stops. The enemy did not permit Archer's rush. The enemy doesn't even let him get within 2 meters, the range of the spear. For a long weapon, distance is always preferred. As Lancer has a weapon almost 2 meters long, he only needs to attack when the enemy comes into his range. Thrusting at an approaching enemy is easier than moving out yourself. But even so, Lancer closes the distance himself and doesn't even allow Archer to move forward. His temper is like a burning flame. Lancer closes in with each blow with no thought of stopping. With long weapons, it's suicidal to close in at the enemy. The spearman's tactic is to use their long range to defeat the enemy and win the battle. So, as Lancer is just advancing unchecked, he doesn't have a chance of winning. But that's just the book. Lancer's lance shows no vulnerability as it strikes the throat, shoulders, forehead, and heart. Thrusts so fast even the after image is blurred. As each strike of his lance repels, rebuffs, and pushes back Archer, only one of his thrusts could be called a final blow. But even as a bowman, Archer is a servant. No ordinary attack can be a final blow. Having repelled the lance aimed at his forehead, Archer closes in with speed superior to Lancers. Based on its shape, you might think that the main attack of a lance is a thrust, but the basic strength of a lance is its swing. This is because a wide swing, using its long range, does not allow the enemy to dodge it by stepping back. A partial retreat does not allow escape, and an attempt to counterattack will only result in a slash to the stomach. But simply going forward will end up in a smashed rib from the long shaft of the lance. Archer and Lancer are similarly built. On top of that, it's hard for Archer with no heavy armor to step into range with a lance swing like a whirlwind. But thrusts are a different story. A blazing fast thrust certain to strike you is certainly scary. But as long as the attack targets a point, there are many ways to avoid once you see it. As Archer just did then, hitting the shaft of the approaching lance to redirect it slightly creates an opening. It must be because he's underestimated the bowman. The advantage of a long weapon is in the length and the freedom of its range. Once Lancer has discarded these advantages himself, his defeat is... Huh? The one in red stops. A nightmare-like time is reversing. The thrust is faster than the previous one. Archer tries to parry the blow, but he gets flicked away along with his weapon. There are no openings in Lancers attack. No, not just that, the thrust increases in speed and power without limit, and it becomes a final blow even for a servant. We were the ones that underestimated him. For that servant, for Lancer's weapon, there are no general rules about lances. Who could ever parry continuous attacks without even space to breathe between them? Archer manages to retreat a bit and parries, and as a result, the distance between them opens a little bit. That distance? Lancer uses that distance as a runaway to launch an even more powerful attack. The raging continuous attack is only a repetition of that, but the blows themselves are godlike. 10 blows already. No, it must actually be many more than that. The heavy rain of lances pours with yet more strength, trying to skewer Archer to death. It's not fast, but it is just skill. Its thrusts like a waterfall with no change in speed. What can Archer do as he's now on the offensive? With such a short sword, he can only parry the lance. He has no way to close on Lancer, and he continues to retreat. A vacuum of steel unfolds. Support. I have to back Archer up. My throat won't respond. My magic has poor aim. Unless Archer gets far away from Lancer, I will hit him with my magic as well. Such an opening would only increase Lancer's advantage. And besides, frankly, I'm captivated. You're a bad master. This is a battle between servants. This is the Holy Grail War itself, where we use heroic spirits, the high-ranking rank of familiar whom we would never otherwise obtain. Servants, familiars of different classes that obey the 7 masters. These are the highest ranked familiars, called heroic spirits, that a Holy Grail summons. So, it's misleading to call them familiars. Originally, familiars were just beings that ran errands for the Magus. Imagine perhaps a cat in boots, or a cute white bird, or a black dog that doesn't obey its master, or something like that. Familiars are that a mere Magus can summon are on that level. Familiars are just familiars. They're only mascots that run errands for their masters, so they cannot be beings stronger than their masters. But servants are different. They are the most powerful beings. Even for sorcerers, of which there are only 5 in the world, it could probably be impossible to form a contract with them. It's not that the summoning is hard, or even that the ability of the servant surpasses the Magus. The servant themselves are beings above magic. I'll make it clear. Servants are heroes from the past. Myth, legend, fable, history. Fiction or not, superhuman beings who gain concrete existence in folklore are what we call heroes. A hero that becomes eternal in people's minds is no longer human after their death, and is promoted to another form of existence. Humans who bring about miracles, save people, achieve great deeds, are called heroes, and even after their death, after being so called, they are promoted to heroic spirits after their death and become guardians of humanity. It doesn't matter whether these people existed in reality or only stories. It is possible people's minds that create a hero. People's wishes that this is how things should be, give them form and set them up as real. Authenticity does not matter. They can have form as long as they have the fame as a legend and people have faith. The ultimate ideal humans have created, the greatest human people have created. These are the heroes, the heroic spirits. And of course, Since they are beyond humans, they cannot be controlled by humans. A magus usually borrows their power only to mimic them. They can't summon a heroic spirit themselves, but the Holy Grail made that impossibility a reality. It summons the heroic spirit beyond human control, and it turns it into a familiar obedient to the Master. That nonsense is proof that the Holy Grail is almighty. And with the passing of years ignored, the heroic spirits are summoned. The most recent from 100 years ago, the oldest from the ancient days. 7 heroic spirits obey each of the 7 masters, protect them, and eliminate the masters of the enemy. Heroes from every age and country are revived in the present day to kill one another for supremacy. That is why this ritual is called the Holy Grail War. But it seems the Holy Grail has limits too. Even the Holy Grail cannot indiscriminately call upon the spirit-like beings. Just as a form invented by humans is required for the imagery, 6 elements known as the devil to take form, the heroic spirit also needs a form to live in this world. That form is their temporary name, and the way they exist in this world. The Holy Grail has furnished classes so that the heroic spirit may take form more easily, and only summons the heroic spirit that matches these classes. It's like a passport to the present, as it sets up a role as a familiar in advance, by allowing the summoned heroic spirit to take on that role. It helps the spirit to take form. If there are 7 masters chosen by the Holy Grail, there are also 7 servants obeying those masters. There are 7 furnished classes. Dear God, this is going to be a less than heavy one. Knights of the Sword, Saber. Knights of the Lance, Lancer. Knights of the Bow, Archer. Mounted Soldiers, Rider. Magus, Caster. Silent Killer, Assassin. Mad Warrior, Berserker. Only the heroic spirit with attributes of these classes are summoned to the present to obey the Master and become a servant. This is the servant system. The summoning and contract with a heroic spirit beyond human control to win the miracle beyond human grasp. The ultimate competition, held only but on this ground, the one and only Holy Grail War. A loud crash. The short sword that deflected Lancer's lance flies from Archer's hand. This is Lancer's technique, a straight thrust that turns into a sweep at Archer's wrist. It was a blow Archer would not avoid, even had he seen it coming. There is no effective way to parry a lance with a sword. A strong rebuff only results in a stronger counterattack, and a weak rebuff does not create any openings. The important aspect of the battle between the sword and the lance lies in defeating the enemy when he is at the wrong range. There is no hesitation in Lancer. His movements to push Archer back stops. He must intend to end the match in a single instant. The stare of a firmly placed Lancer and the swordless Archer clashes. In that instant, the lance is thrust just like a flash of light. It can't even be seen. Forehead, neck, and heart. 3 shots are launched, and only one a fatal blow. I guess we'll find that out next time, guys. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.